What's up, people of YouTube? My name is Anthony, also known as a.d._cuts on Instagram, and I'm here today to show you guys how to clean the inside of your Wahl seniors, your cordless seniors. So what you're going to need is a screwdriver, a small brush to get the little corners, and a bigger brush to get out the bulk of the hair. You're also going to need some clipper oil. So I got the Andis clipper oil. And you're going to need some Andis Cool Care as well. And then a clean rag for the clippers. So let's get started. So basically what you want to do first is unscrew the Wahl cordless seniors. So you see the two screws in the back. We're going to unscrew those real quick. I'm going to put that right there. Unscrew the other one. And then take this off. Alright, so we're going to take off these two sections of the clippers. Take off the inside. So it's kind of hard. You just got to be very careful to make sure that this doesn't break. You don't want to flip it out too hard. But basically what I do is I just get the corner right here and I just pop it out very slowly. Careful not to break it. And I put my finger over it so it doesn't go flying. And then you're just going to put it to the side, and then here you're going to see the inside of the clippers. And then what I also do is I take this off. Here, if you look inside, you're going to take this off. You're going to pull it back and then out, and it comes off real easily. Just remember the way things were when you first took it off. Just remember the way things look to put it all back in the right place so nothing goes wrong with your clippers. So basically you see all the hair inside here. We're going to take all that out. We're going to use the big one, our big brush, just to get off the bulk of the little hairs. Now remember, the reason why you want to do this is so that the hair doesn't clog or clog up your clippers. If you have too many hairs in here and you don't clean it out regularly, it could jam your equipment and cause your machine to go a little bit slower as well while you're cutting hair. So it's not performing at its best. And also what can happen is that you can also, because of the bulk, because of the jamming, and because of the slowness of the clippers now, if you go too fast while you're cutting hair, you could also nick your client and actually pull on their hair because of all the hair clogged up in here and the way your machine is not running at its best. So now that I've cleaned up the majority, I'm going to clean up the little hairs using the smaller brush. So I'm going to flip it upside down just so the hairs fall out a little bit easier. You want to clean out the inside. You really want to clean everything out. Now it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I know a lot of people who literally let the hair clog up so much to the point where it's up to here in hair. It's insane. It's completely crazy, which is why you should clean them regularly. Because I do, there's not as much hair as, let's say, other people who don't clean their equipment. But I'm just making sure that I clean my stuff regularly, so that way my clippers are always performing at their best. Alright, and now that we've done that, we are now going to clean off the blade and this little contraption that goes inside. So I'm going to dust this off first. Just make sure you get all the hairs off. Now same thing with the blades. Make sure all the hairs off. Oops. So you see all that hair, taking all that off. Oops, sorry guys. There we go. So now that all the hair is dusted off, what we want to do is disinfect everything. So what I personally do is I get my Andis Cool Care, shake it up a little bit, I just spray down the equipment. So Andis Cool Care, basically what it is, it's a coolant, a disinfectant, a lubricant, a cleaner, and a rust preventative. And it's important to spray these down at the end of every single haircut, because it, like it says in the description, you really want to make sure your equipment is completely clean. So I do this every time I clean my clippers. I do this every time between each haircut. So let's say I'm doing 2 haircuts today. I would spray it down before I even start the first client, and also like dust or clean off the excess spray afterwards. And then after the haircut, I would clean my equipment and then spray it down again, and then wipe off the excess Cool Care for the next client afterwards. And you just do that before and after each client, and then your clippers should be clean. So you see the shine, they're all clean now. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put everything back on. So you want to get this little contraption here, I don't know what it's called, and wait just a moment. You want to get this right here, and you want to put this back on the way it was. So it was facing this way, and so there's a little stand here to kind of prevent it from coming off. So you want to put it in there and kind of pull it back down, just make sure it's locked in place. And then you want to put this little contraption here, you want to put that back on. Careful to put this little edge part of it under this silver part, and you just want to push it down and make sure the edges, until you hear a click, and then you want to make sure the edges are in there. So now it's locked in place. And so now what we are going to do is put the blade back on. So you see this little ridge right here, you want to put it back on. You want to make sure that the blade is facing, you see how it's kind of slanted this way, you want to put it back on that way. And then for this part, you want to put that back on. And then you align it so that way the two holes match up, and you can put in the screws easily. So let me get off the screws. And I put them back on just to, like this, lightly, so that way I could just simply screw them back on, and it should be fairly easy. So it's screwed on lightly, because we still have to adjust the blade, because right now it's all over the place. So we slowly squeeze it down, tighter, but not too tight. It should be to the point where you can move it around a little bit. Usually I just eyeball it, but there are different techniques that you may look up, or I might make a video about adjusting your blade to zero gap it. But basically you want to make sure that the comb blade matches up with the cutting blade, but you want to make sure the cutting blade, which is this side, you want to make sure it's slightly lower than the comb part of the blade, because if it goes over and then you turn your machine on, here, let me show you guys. So basically you want to have it slightly lower, because if you have it over, this is the part of the cutting blade is the part that goes side to side. So you'd be scratching your client, and that's how you nick them. That's how you get all these scratch marks and red marks. So that's why you want to have it at, or if you want to zero gap it and you are very careful while using them, or you want to have it slightly below, so that way you're not cutting the client. So right now I'm adjusting them. I need to loosen this screw up right here. I'm not going to zero gap it completely in this video, but I will be showing you guys how to properly align it. Usually I just eyeball it, but there are different techniques. Like I said, I might also post a video, maybe, we'll see. So I'm gonna hold it down once I've aligned it, and I'm gonna screw it tightly back on, and then you see it's straight, it's consistent across. And so just tighten it completely now, then you are good. There's only one last thing you got to do, because you've already sterilized and lubricated through Andis Cool Care, but you still have to oil your clippers so they don't rust up. So now I get my Andis clipper oil. I do 1 drop on the side to get the bottom part of the moving blade, 1 in this corner, 1 down the middle, 1 on this corner, and 1 on the side right here. And you just let your machine run. You let your machine run, and you go up and down just to make sure that oil really spreads throughout the clipper. You also want to face it upside down, because if the oil gets too far into the clippers, then it might mess up the clipper itself. So you want to make sure it only gets the blade part of it. So that's why you kind of want to hold it upside down to keep the oil within the blade area. And after letting it run for a few seconds, you want to get your rag again, and then you want to wipe off the excess oil, or else it may jam while cutting up a client. Like it might pull at the hair or not cut properly because of the oil. It's a lubricant. And after that, you are good to go. You see the clippers are all shiny and clean, they're oiled, they're disinfected, and so now everything's ready to go. And remember, make sure that the cutting blade and the comb blade part of the blade are aligned, and not like one higher than the other, or the cutting blade over the comb blade or part of the blade, or else it will cut the client if you're not careful. So just make sure you align that properly. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys thought it was informative and helpful, please drop a like or a comment on what you thought of the video. And feel free to follow my Instagram at a.z._cuts, and have a good day. See you guys.